Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing a Grixis Delver deck this time. As you can see before you, it's pretty much a fairly standard blue-red Delver shell. Got the Delver Secret, Snapcaster Mages, Young Pyromancers, nice cheap draw spells, Probe, Serum Visions, Thought Scour as well, and then we've got some counters, Remand, Mana Leak, Spell Snare, Lightning Bolts obviously, Electrolyze, and then we get the Black Splash, which gives us access to Tasigur, who is one of the newest addition to the deck, and obviously a very powerful card, as you probably know if you've had a chance to play with this card, particularly in Modern. Then there's Murderous Cut, which works nicely with our sort of mill strategy, our self-mill strategy as it were, and is a very good removal spell in general. And we also have access to Terminate, which is as well also a very good removal spell. So let's play some games. We've had a bit of trouble with the replays I usually do, thanks to Electrolyze randomly bugging them out and dealing like 500 damage for some reason, which I may show you for some laughs, but it's just a bit annoying for me, as that's the way I usually record my videos, is through replays. Might have to try and do some live stuff. It's a little bit difficult with my current laptop situation, as it's not the best, but anyway, let's get to it. So I've got a game here, well, a match rather, against a Genesis Wave deck, which is a deck that pops up quite a bit, to be honest. At least online, it's, I suppose, a relatively cheap deck to build. And rather than explain it, I suppose we'll see how it goes, and you'll see, probably get an idea for what that deck does. This is our opener. It's a little bit risky. We don't have any draw spells, so I'm not entirely happy with keeping a one-lander. We can keep a one-lander with this deck, but this particular one-lander is not something I'm particularly happy with. Particularly as we kind of want black to get Tasigur and things going, and really turn one Delver into nothing could be a problem. Our 6-card hand is not great, to be honest. It's a lot of lands and 2 Tasigurs. Obviously Tasigur's legendary, so having 2 is not particularly useful. I decided to keep it because I didn't particularly want to go to 5, and potentially we can get a nice quick Tasigur out. We only run 18 lands, so hopefully we won't draw too many more, but can't really guarantee that. So opponent leads off an Arbor Elf, kind of figure what's up. He might be an Elves deck, I suppose, but this Genesis Wave deck. Nixos and Voyage's data pretty much confirm that. So yeah, this deck basically it runs things like Utopia Sprawl, Overgrowth and things, as well as Nixos. Then it untaps its lands, makes silly amounts of mana, and then either plays things like Primetime, Primeval Titan that is, Genesis Wave, and other big fat things, and to boost Devotion, and also you've got things like Garruk Wildspeaker, you've got things like Acidic Slime to blow up lands as well, and also boosts the Devotion. Tends to have Eternal Witness, which can get back to Genesis Wave, so you can do it all over again. So that's kind of how the deck works. Creative Behemoth as well is another one, I think. But anyway, we've not much we can do with our current hand. Just going to fish out, continue to draw lands despite fetching up as many as possible. Can get a turn 3 Tasigur. You know, not bad, but isn't really going to do a whole lot against his combo. We can attack for 4 here at least. We fire out a spell in Thought Scour. Opponent casts Harmonize. I'm going to Thought Scour here. I could have just activated Tasigur's ability and then got something back. Could have got back a Probe or a Lightning Bolt under the circumstances, which would have been decent, I suppose. But I thought we'd Thought Scour to try and counter this Harmonize, because we really don't want him drawing 3 cards. Hasn't really done a great deal with the access to mana that he currently has, which is quite a lot potentially. So it would be nice if we had been able to counter that Harmonize, as now he's probably pretty good on gas. We draw another land, which is very annoying. He just throws away his Satyr because he doesn't really care about them anymore. He's got too many. Puts no full of mana, Acidic Slime, and then a Worm Coil Engine, and I'll just about do it. I actually conceded a bit too early on this game, I would say, but I think it would have been very hard for us to come back from the situation. Even with 2 Young Pyromancers and a Tasigur out, we can just keep buying back things and stuff, but I just think him getting that much life, him just having loads of mana, he's got Death Touch guy to get rid of one of our guys, going to be pretty difficult to come back from. We also don't really have many good answers to Worm Coil Engine. I suppose we could Murderous Cut it and then somehow deal with the tokens, but yeah, not ideal. But yeah, slightly too early concession. I don't really like conceding early in videos that I'm going to show to people, but yeah, I think we'd had this one lost, and I think he would just gain too much life by the time we'd actually found an answer to Worm Coil Engine that just wouldn't have mattered all that much, unfortunately. I suppose we could have kept chumping it, but it's just going to get more and more difficult. I think eventually he would have found, using the time we were going to give him, he would have found a Genesis Wave and started going off. But let's play it out and see what happens usually. But just a bit as it was. So I'm just going to get rid of this checkbox. I think it's a bit annoying. So here is our opener for game 2. We're on the play. This is a one lander that I actually don't mind keeping. It's got Serum Visions in it for start. We've got a lot of 1 mana spells, no black spells, so we can just search up Steam Vents and be fairly happy with that situation. We've also got a threat, so we're actually applying pressure. So I'm happy to just run with this, use the Delta to get Steam Vents, play our Delver of Secrets, and then hopefully we can just kill them off with our Lightning Bolt. We reveal a Tasigur off the top, which obviously isn't the best with our current hand, but could be good. We can draw a land. I'm going to Serum Visions, see a mountain and a Scalding Tarn. I'm going to put the Scalding Tarn on top. I could have left both lands on top. I kind of want both, but I also really want this Delver to flip sometime soon, so I think I just kept the fetch in that situation and bottomed the basic mountain. It's not got a lot going on. We're not able to punish him just yet for that. Goes to play an Overgrowth on turn 3. I'm going to remand that because that's just going to waste his whole turn. It's precisely the kind of thing we like to do. We're drawing a Delver of Secrets off the top. Serum Visions is revealed off the top by our Delver, so we can flip and start attacking for 3, which is definitely something I want to do. I play Delver and just pass the turn. I'm keeping up Spell Snare, but I don't think that's actually very good in this matchup. It's good against Voyaging Satyr, but that's about it. I think probably should have taken them out, though I don't think I've got a great deal of sideboard cards for this matchup, so there is that. But yeah, I think in general I was probably better off just going for a Serum Visions there and setting up the second Delver flip. So this turn casting Overgrowth, I'm going to bolt him so I can have 5 cards in my graveyard, so I can just cast this Tasigur for 1 mana, allowing me to either cast the Serum Visions or do something else with the rest of the mana. We draw another Delver, so we're going to be flipping the second Delver just yet. I'm going to cast Tasigur and cast the second Delver of Secrets. Obviously if they flip next turn, that's going to be pretty good. There's a Garruk, and then a Primal Command which gains him 7 life and finds him a Worm Coil Engine. It's pretty good, but it's not likely to be good enough, I would expect, as these Delvers are probably going to flip eventually and we're going to be able to attack for 9 in the air, so that should be good. So we don't really have an answer to Worm Coil, but we can just ignore it to some degree. Off the top we reveal Polluted Delta, which isn't too exciting. Isn't going to flip our Delvers this turn, unfortunately. So Tasigur kills the Garruk, and we get in for 5, put our phone down to 10. Pass the Serum Visions, a Lightning Bolt and a Gitaxian Probe. We're going to put the Lightning Bolt on top and guarantee the flip. So for our guys, obviously remembering not to crack this Polluted Delta. So bolt. Now we can attack for 9 and then just finish our opponent off with the bolt. So yeah, managed to win past his Worm Coil. He didn't get a lot going early. Remand set him back nicely, and we got a lot of our aggressive creatures down, and managed to put a beating on him. Primal Command, a little bit scary, but managed to handle it thanks to our aggressive beats. So let's go on to game 3. Oh, big moles of fire. Let's have a see if we can check back on that. To see how that went. So with the opening hand, it looks like this. It's almost acceptable, but kind of a risk. I mean, the basic island, you can go turn 1 Island Delver, and then hope to draw a fetch of some description with the Gitaxian Probe and the Thought Scour, but I think sometimes I might have kept this hand, but in game 3, when I'm on the draw, I don't know. I mean, I suppose being on the draw is helpful actually in the situation when we really need to draw a land, but yeah, 3 of our cards are dead if we don't draw another land, or if we just draw another island or something like that, which isn't great. But we do have 2 draw spells, so it kind of depends on your opinion, but it is a potential keep, but I decided to play it a little bit safe and go for the mulligan, which did not work out well for me. As you can see, we draw all the blue spells, and a basic swamp is our only land, which just isn't keepable at all. And then multi 5, and we end up with a hand that was not too dissimilar from the one we had previously, but we've got Serum Visions at this time, so that helps us set up our draw a little bit better, and we've got Scalding Tarn, so we can actually get Steam Vents, which is usually my preferred way to go. Got more red spells than black spells, I believe. So I probe, missed that I think. He's got Utopia Sprawl, Overgrowth, Emrakul, Eternal Witness, and something else maybe. Not another land though, which is interesting under the circumstances. We draw Darkslick Shores, which is nice. We're just going to run out our Delver. Opponent is going to cast his Utopia Sprawl and doesn't have anything else to do. Following turn, reveal island off the top, which isn't bad. We're reasonably happy with lands, but obviously would have liked to flip there if possible. Could have offered the trade there, but I'm not too happy with trading, so I decided against it. I'm just going to trade, but I'm going to mana leak it. Don't want him having access to lots of mana, particularly with this Arbor Elf out, which I don't currently have an answer to. So we reveal a bolt off the top. So we're going to tap for 3. We'll put down to 17. Going to Serum Visions. We see Snapcaster and then a Polluted Delta. I bottom the Polluted Delta, keep the Snapcaster on top. And we draw a Spell Snare, which again probably should have been sided out. Kind of want to bolt this Arbor Elf so he has access to less mana. He does have an Eternal Witness, so he can get back the Arbor Elf if he really wanted to, but I still think it's probably the best thing to do. Just kill off this Arbor Elf and kind of reduce his access to mana. Eternal Witness gets him back his Overgrowth. I decided to Thought Scour, forgetting that I'd set up some cards on the top, so I'm not going to draw the Snapcaster, but I don't think that's too devastating. I mean, I probably would have Snapcaster bolted to either kill the Eternal Witness or maybe would have increased that clock, I suppose, but I'm not too devastated by accidentally milling it, but you should keep these things in mind when you are playing. Draw a Delver anyway, which is something that can keep the pressure on our opponent, and Remand is going to slow him down somewhat. Attacks with his Eternal Witness, which is certainly reasonable. Oh, he has a Beast Within in his hand, that's the other card that I forgot to mention, that we skipped by a little bit ago. So he has an Overgrowth, which he's going to try and cast. Again, I'm going to Remand it. He doesn't do a whole lot else. I draw into Murderous Cut. Also draw a Tasigur off the top, which unfortunately doesn't flip our Delver, but we are going to be able to attack 4 here, given our opponent attacked with his Witness. We've got loads of cards in our graveyard, so we're just going to get this Tasigur down. Pressure up. Won't cast Overgrowth again, so hasn't done really a great deal with the past few turns he's had. He's down to 10, and so I've got 10 on board. If I can kill off this jump blocker in the form of the Eternal Witness, which I can with this Murderous Cut, so that's what I'm going for. Again, I forgot they had Beast Within, which actually means that I don't quite have lethal this turn, but I don't think that's really going to be a problem, but maybe I didn't need to kill the Eternal Witness in that situation. May have ended up regretting it if he drops like... actually, it still might have been the play, to be honest. Debatable. I can see situations where I may have ended up regretting that, but I've got 2 flyers and he doesn't really have a lot of answers to that, and I've knocked him down to 4 at this point, so I'm feeling fairly happy with our position. I'm going to Thought Scour just in case we find the Spell Pierce, which I think I brought in from the sideboard, 1 or 2 copies maybe, just to find a potential answer. We'll draw Serum Visions instead, which doesn't do a great deal, but I think it's worth going for. And our opponent concedes. Yeah, unlikely at this point that he's going to be able to find an answer that's really going to work for him to prevent me killing him off here, so we managed to pick up the win. It's an interesting deck. We don't actually have a lot of ways to deal with it when it actually gets going, so that is a bit of a problem, but I think we've got enough removal and enough good aggressive guys. In general, we should be winning this matchup, but certainly when they do their thing and they get going, they can be pretty difficult to stop, but I think, as I say, in general we are the better deck. We've got some nice tempo cards as well that can throw them off, like Remand and so on, and hopefully we just win through as we did here.